Hello, this is Pat Cahill from Pat Cahill Metalworks, and today we're going to make some earrings out of this sort of unique stone. It's a Rosarita. It's kind of interesting in that I'm not sure really what to call it. It's certainly not a gemstone. It is the slag that is formed when they're processing gold. So back in the day, in the 60s and 70s, when they processed for gold or processed to purify the gold, this was a byproduct of it. And it's a beautiful red. This one's a clear one. Sometimes they're just more like a coral look, but this one's nice and clear. So the first thing I'm going to do is make a bezel for it. And the way I make a bezel is I get this is labeling material, Avery labeling material or whatever, and I cut a strip and I use that to go around the stone to give me the dimension of bezel wire I'm going to need. So it's nice to have that little sticky part that sticks to it. Hopefully a little better than it just did. And we go around, and right where they meet, I'm going to make a little mark. With my thumbnail. And cut it. Check to see it, if it is indeed flush with the other side. It's not. Needs a little more cutting. There's a lot of other ways to measure the amount of bezel wire you're going to need. Okay, so that's gives me a good idea how much bezel wire I'm going to need. I then just take it off. You can lay it on your bench, you can lay it anywhere you want. I'm just going to lay it here so you guys can see a little bit better. Now I know that it's just a little bit small. This piece is a little bit smaller than what I want for the bezel itself. So I'll take my bezel wire, and I've already picked it out. Measure it. I added a little bit here. And I make a little mark. Then we'll go to our miter jig again. I lost my mark. Oh, it's on the other side. Alright, so do the bezel jig. Line it up with the mark, and you can cut this off, snip it off, anything you want. Little snips, and then make a nice end, and the other end needs to be made nice too. I'm basically taking off nothing here, just flattening the end. Now, I want you to know that I love this miter jig. I have two. One, this one, I brutalize. I use sanding sticks on it. I use everything, and it does wear down over time. Although it did take a year or two or three, depending on how much you use it. It might take many years, but it's not really the way you want to really treat it. Which is why I have my other miter jig that has never seen, so I'm not going to find it right this second, but has never seen sandpaper, and it is still pristine. And you can take care of that. It's okay to use a file. File won't affect the surfaces half as much as a sandpaper. So the next thing to do is to make the bezel wire in a way so we can bring the two ends together so that we can solder it together. So I start with two perpendicular lines, and then you just fold it around. In this part, you definitely want to take your time and do right. These things need to match. The better they match, the better your bezel is going to be. Or the solder portion of your bezel. So, and do take your time with this. It's really just a matter of bringing them to their about right, pushing them in so they go up against one another, and you can push them down like that. You just want them straight, matching perfectly. And this part you can fiddle with a bit. And that's pretty good. So I'm going to let that go. I'm going to get the other one done and get ready to solder them. So I'll bring you back with the solder station all ready to go. And we'll go from there. Okay, so we got them all set up on the solder block. And put a little piece of solder. And I want that solder to be just underneath where we want to connect the two ends. And I add a little liquid flux. Ready to solder them. As with everything, heat it up uniformly. And you'll see when it goes, it went. So on this one, alright, done. Those in the pickle. Okay, so here they are, soldered, ready to be formed into the bezel or the shape of the stone. First thing you want to do is put them on a ring mandrel, or a ring mandrel, but a clear one that doesn't have the lines to show the sizes of rings. And then use a soft hammer. By that you can use a rawhide, or in this case I'm going to be using one with a nylon top on it. Now we have a nice round bezel wire, and we need to start to shape it into the press it into the shape of the stone that you want to set. And probably the best place to start is the tip, and then slowly work it around till you get it so that it fits nice. We want it to fit snug, but not too snug. And that looks pretty good. Okay, I'm going to do it on the other side and I'll bring it back. I'm going to use some 20 gauge, which is pretty heavy for earrings, but what we're going to do after we've soldered the bezel to the back plate, we're going to pierce out the back of the plate. The reason I'm going to do that here is because this is such a nice clear stone that seems a shame to cover it up with a backing. So, and I think they make really nice earrings that way. Okay, so we have the two pieces cut out for the base plates of the bezel. Make sure we have enough room. Now we need to decide what we want to, where we want to solder, on the outside or the inside. And if you're going to have an outside piece that it extends beyond the bezel, then you would want to put the solder on the inside. But in this case, I'm going to have it so that it's flush with the walls of the bezel itself. And I think that will look better with the pierced out back portion. So I'm going to be putting solder on the outside. These are just the things that you need to think about. You need to sort of have an idea of your design before you start. So let me get that set up on the solder station. Okay, so that's been soldered. It's ready to be trimmed. So I'm going to trim out the excess here around as close as I can get to the bezel, and we'll go from there. The other one's still in the pickle. Okay, so that one's done. Okay, so we have them all cut out. Scrap. And the next thing is we want to file down the edges so that they're almost flush with the bezel. Take your time. File all the way around it so that you have it almost flush. Turning it a little bit each time. And it should be very nice at the end. I'm going to cut here, finish this up so it's flush with the or almost to the edge, and then bring it back, and then I'm going to finish it with the flex shaft. So I'll see you in a bit. Okay, welcome back. So I filed away as much as I want, each one of the edges as much as I could, without starting to file away the bezel itself. And now I'm just going to carefully remove the rest of the material. My voice sounds a little thing, I'm wearing a mask. And my opti-visors. I guess that wouldn't make me sound different, but the mask does. So, put it in the clamp. Using my flex shaft with little sanding wheel on it. And I carefully go around. Taking off the last little bit of the back plate. And once I know that I have that all gone, then I smooth it off with the bezel. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to do is score a line around the edge. Goes even with the edge, so I know where I'm going to pierce out the back. So just take some dividers, slowly go around. Okay, now it's time to pierce out the center. And we start by drilling a hole. Doesn't matter really where you drill it. I don't like to go too close to the line, so I just pick a spot. Drill out a hole, and now we're going to pierce it. So see this, I'm putting my saw blade through the hole, and then okay, so now we're ready to pierce. And it's just a matter of taking your time and going around using the guides that we established. Actually, I love piercing. For some reason I find it relaxing. Now, here we come to our corner, where we're going to have to, our point where we're going to have to turn. That's when we start going a little slower and slowly changing the angle of your saw. Don't force it. Just let it happen. Okay, so sorry if my hands are in the way. Small piece, so it's hard not to get my big fat fingers all in the way. Yeah, although that's very comfortable in holding it that way. Maybe you'll be able to see as I turn, I slowly just make a nice, smooth away from the pressure of the saw when you're making these corners, curves. And just follow the line. Okay. There we go. And there it is, pierced out. Bring that, move the camera over a little. And here you go. And here's our pierced out section. So we want to take care of the edges on that. Some parts are a little bit tough to get to. Other parts are pretty easy. I'll start with a sanding bit. I don't really know what they call these things, but they make a lot of them, go through quite a bit. This one's getting down to the ends, which is a good thing. So it's this, it's not as fat and thick, so it gets in here nice and easy. Just take your time and smooth out the edges. You're not going to be able to get at the very top, so don't worry about that. We'll get that in a different way. Okay, so that's nice. That's nice. And we just have to work on the top. I'm going to bring out these things called points, and they're just little abrasive devices that allow you to get into tight spots. The grit is dependent on the color coded. See, it's got a nice point on it, so I can get into finer or smaller areas. Okay. Doesn't require much. There we have it. We could buff it up a little bit more. Let's put in our stone and see what it looks like. I'm not going to push it down all the way in there, because even though we have a way of getting it out, actually I forgot which one goes with what. I don't think it matters. These are pretty well matched. Yeah, that's gonna look nice. I think I'm gonna oxidize this in the end. That will turn the silver black, and I think the black with the red is gonna look really nice, really sharp. So there we have it so far. And the next step is to put on a bail, which will attach to the ear wire. Where's the other one? Well, I'll find it. So let me get set up to put the bails on, each one of them. I actually have to decide which way will they hang. Should it hang down or up? Too bad this isn't live, you could tell me, because I could go either way. I think typically you would think that is a teardrop, but why not be a little bit different and have it like that? All right, I'll get back. By then we'll have decided. Okay, so we're all ready to solder the bail onto the bezel, and I've got it positioned correctly, so I'm just going to slowly heat up both. And there we go. The reason why this is dark on the bottom, and this is fine silver, of course, for the bezel, and the bottom is sterling silver. So we'll put that in the pickle, and I'll be back. Okay, so welcome back. Now it's time to set the stone. This is all done. I've actually given it a matte finish because I'm going to oxidize it. I probably won't show you guys the oxidation process. I do it inside. I won't be able to do it today. I'll do it later. But I also want to save that for another episode so we can go over that in a little detail, or more detail. So there it is. I think it's going to look nice, especially with the dark, the blackened silver. So I'm just going to use one of these like kids plastic knives, and we start at the point, push it over, push it in, push it in, push it in. And then just go around. There we go. And just push that over. Form a nice seal. Okay. And go around everywhere. Make sure it's in there. Pushed over, I mean. You know, with this fine silver, it makes it much easier. Especially since I use pretty thin gauge. It's 26 gauge fine silver for the bezel. Okay, there we have it. I'll do that to the other side. I'll oxidize it, and which I said I'm going to have a show specifically on oxidizing and techniques for that. A lot of people don't do it exactly right, or differently. I wouldn't say wrong. But if you want a deep black surface on your silver, there are a couple of tricks that you might learn, or maybe you already know. I don't know. Okay, so I'm going to do the other side, oxidize, show you guys the results. I'll be back. Okay, so here they are complete. Let me put them up on so you can see. A nice pair of sterling silver and Rosarita stone earrings. It's front to the back. They look nice. Now I didn't show you the ear wires. I'll leave that for another episode. I make when I do ear wires, I usually make like lots at a time, 30 or 40, maybe more. So we'll save that for another time. Most of my ear wires are handmade. So there we go. I hope you enjoyed this. Pretty nice. I like the oxidation. The black and the red really go together. And I like the fact that I put it down so the points down the bottom looks kind of like a heart. Well, thank you. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next episode.